Growing up as a young lad in the 70s,
Don't give you age.
it was pretty hard. It was pretty hard to find an Australian household that didn't have Caroma taps and toilets in the bathrooms. I mean, they were just everywhere.
So, Stephen, if you don't mind, if you could just tell us a bit about yourself and explain your role with GWA.
Oh, thanks, John. My name's Steve. I joined GWA about 18 months ago, and since then I've been working with the Smart Command product. I'm primarily involved in the cloud side of the product and getting data from customer bathrooms up into the cloud, processing that data and turning it into insights for our customers, so that they can make better decisions and see how they're tracking with water usage.
Thanks for that. Ritesh, if you don't mind introducing yourself and GWA Group.
Hi, my name is Ritesh Patel. I'm the CIO of GWA Group. Currently about 10 months into the role at GWA, and what we're trying to form is capability around our technology shop. So we're GWA Tech. We have a number of functions in our team, from cyber, from applications, from infrastructure and platforms, and obviously IoT services, which Steve is a part of. GWA is an organization. We are 70-plus-year-old company that's based in Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. We have one of the most famous brands in bathrooms called Caroma. And for those of you who don't know, Caroma invented the dual flush. The company has got a history of innovation and product innovation particularly, and was one of the early pioneers of IoT services. And today we'll probably explore a bit more of that journey and how we're transforming this particular space, IoT, bathroom and facility management, to the next level of maturity.
Some of the early challenges, if you don't mind, if you can just share, perhaps even when you came into the project, the state of the project and what you'd had walked into.
So I'll probably give a brief from my perspective, then I'll give it to Steve from a technical perspective. I think 10 months ago when we walked into started looking at the Smart Command project, there were probably a number of concerns. One was we had a IoT platform which was end of life and obsolete and getting deprecated, and the alternate upgrade was a cost increase of 400% higher from the current vendor, and also from a reliability and operational efficiency perspective, there were a number of challenges. So early on, I think when Steve and I were looking at this current platform to scale and grow Caroma Smart Command to the next level, we knew we couldn't stay with the incumbent IoT platform or the IoT provider, and a serious rethink of our platform architecture needed to occur. Steve?
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting time. The incumbent platform provider had announced the deprecation date. We had done proof of concept on the natural upgrade path, and that took a few months. And once we started talking about the financials, it really became clear to us that that this wasn't going to be something that we could move forward with, and that left us in a bit of a bind, because our only option was to do a fairly drastic platform migration. And for the most part, GWA is a Microsoft shop, so to migrate the platform to Azure was definitely our preference. But by the time the decision was made to do that, we were running very, very short on time and quite skinny on resources as well. So
then if the timeline serves correctly, Royal Cyber was invited in.
I think for this particular one, it was probably one of the easier projects to sort of get buy-in. I've been in a lot of business cases through my life, but I guess the current state wasn't satisfactory. The current state was current gateways are failing, poor reliability, potentially 400% cost increase of staying with the current provider, not going to their platform. So the numbers were there, it was quite obvious. So based on those two key drivers, decreased costs, high operational efficiency, we built our business case quite easily and got an immediate endorsement by the CEO and the board to pursue a migration path.
When Royal Cyber stepped in just to have an understanding of the project and to provide some ideas and supports there, what were your views coming into the IoT project?
Thanks, John. So at the point where the platform needs to be upgraded, we got engaged with the project and had good conversation with Steve and Ritesh and understood the current challenges. So we have our own expertise in terms of IoT. We did several projects around that. So with that expertise, we are able to consult Karma on the way forward, especially around using the Azure IoT platform and how that can potentially improve the stability of the system, scalability of the system, and also it will be implemented faster, so that we can get this transition completed before the incumbent platform goes out of support. So we started that project, and I think within 2 months to about 2.5 months, where we were able to get that platform up and running in Azure IoT, and quite a successful endeavor, I would say, in terms of delivering that.
Mm-hmm. The new platform's giving us a lot more opportunity. One of the really exciting things to come out of the new platform, Microsoft Azure gives us the opportunity to access a store full of modules that we can download to a gateway, and we have the ability to run modules on the gateway. So we're talking about edge processing, which is something that's brand new to us. Our gateway firmware is being completely rewritten to take advantage of the edge runtime, and that will allow us to update our gateway software in a more modular fashion, which will, it will drive reliability, smaller updates, and it will enable us to more closely monitor and control our devices at the edge, which will make things, more performant, less costs for processing data on the cloud and that sort of thing. So the migration is, it's had a few incompatibilities which have been a little bit painful, and they've needed to be addressed, but there's a real shining light at the end of this tunnel with all the goodness that comes from moving over to the Azure platform.
Ritesh, I'm keen to get your perspectives here, and you've stepped into a new role with GWA, and this is one of the big projects that you've got on your books, and you've walked into that inflection point where changing an old tech to new tech. Any challenges that you saw, whether it was ideas, people, perhaps not quite aligning with each other?
It was significantly high risk. You think about our platform, which supports 200 buildings, over 1,000 devices, and you multiply the amount of bathroom taps and showers we have, so potentially about 10,000 equipment across Australia. The easier decision is to stick to the incumbent and keep doing what you're doing. But fundamentally, we have to be bold in our thinking and really think about where we want to take this into the future. What's our cost base going to be? What's our customer experience will be like? How can we integrate this with other platforms? Particularly, how do you bring in AI? How do you bring in third-party integration? How do you sort of really expand this to be a world-leading platform? And when you sort of bring all those pictures together, we knew we couldn't stay with our current provider. So incident decision we made, and quite a bold one. And this is where I think Royal Cyber's partnership and the deep expertise in IoT and Microsoft sort of gave us the confidence to, right, we've got a partner who can support us through this journey. It is hard. It's very short time. I think you think about it, we had to get the platform in 3 or 4 months, That was a very short timeline. And usually you don't start, usually you would plan a project like this for 6 months to a year and then execute that. But we had to plan, execute, deliver, migrate in 3 months. And that was a significant undertaking by us, and probably a high risk undertaking from any IT project management standards. But given the platform was going to deprecate, we had no choice. So we made the bold decision. We partnered very strongly with Royal Cyber. We partnered with Steve and our IoT team, and they all really worked together on what is the critical path forward and how we move this platform. And it's been a tremendous success. After all, our operation costs has come down, and at any day we have over 98% of gateways online in Australia, and the previous data to that was about
closer to 50%
online.
50%, wow.
So you can imagine the operational efficiency we've gained through that, and obviously the lower cost base. So obviously a very, very bold decision, but once you have the right expertise, partnerships, and the approach, I think you sort of get through those challenges.
Okay. And so Ritesh, in a nutshell, 3 months, you're in the heat of battle, I guess. What was it like? Herding cats? Was it orderly process? Differences of opinions?
The reality was making the decision was the easy part. But I just felt probably a story for Steve, and I'm sure he can show battle scars. But I guess what we did was we got 2 major resource profiles. So we had our existing IoT team with Steve and Arif, and it's quite a small team. We managed who do this, and obviously our partners. But with Royal Cyber, we augmented that team with project management. So we got dedicated project management through this from Royal Cyber, and we dedicated that with IoT Microsoft engineering skill sets from the organization. So we built the team around our core team, and we augmented a few key roles around that. Based on that team, they worked in an agile fashion. They set up their critical milestones. They met every 2 weeks. And they worked very, 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 very focused in terms of what the task and activities required to deliver the outcomes we need to make this project a success. That's the high level, but I'm sure Steve, my friend over there, who's sitting next to me, will probably share the other battle scars and what really happened.
Look, this is not something we would have been able to do without Royal Cyber, and we had tried to get help from, we basically cast a wide net, and Royal Cyber was really the first and only company to come through with the expertise that we needed, which was fortunate.
Very good.
And the team from Royal Cyber, the technical team, were able to so seamlessly and easily quickly slot into our existing way of working. We had our firmware development being done by the incumbent gateway supplier. We had our web development and messaging to the gateways being done by another group. So the Royal Cyber technical team actually had to come in and start working with my team, the gateway team, the web development team, and then working with some of my peers to help set up platforms and make sure everything's secure. So by no means was it a small job, and it was really quite incredible how quickly these guys were able to come up to speed and show us the way. I mean, they were chosen for their expertise in Azure and the Azure IoT hub, but being able to be an expert in some technology, and also but being able to step into a large group of people with all sorts of specialised knowledge areas and make a contribution, it's quite something. It was it was very pleasing. It gave us a lot of confidence early that we had a chance of making our deadlines.